What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020 Best Podcast News and 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. And I am the host of the only online show in the world for dads and fathers that is sponsored by Dove Men Care. It is also co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization. And I am the global chair of the GFDI, which is the Global Food and Drink Initiative, which is a multimedia not-for-profit that spotlights Blacks in the diaspora that are doing their thing in food, wine, and travel. This is the Morning Vibe, May 24th. It is a holiday here in Canada, but we are still working because there is always work to do. Ryan Oneil Knight, my co-host, is not with us today. He's not feeling well, so he said, Dr. Vibe, I'm counting on you to get it done today. So we're going to get it done today and looking forward to it. As always, I like to say, too, you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Tomorrow, May 25th, is an anniversary we're not happy to celebrate, but we are going to remember. It's not a celebration, it's a Remembrance Day. A year ago yesterday, the tragic death of George Floyd, which led to protests all around the world and a worldwide movement accelerating social justice. And we would be remiss if we did not spend some time today talking about George Floyd, the aftermath. And we have two special guests today who are going to be talking with us in regards to this unfortunate event, but they're taking it up another notch. Today we have, and I'm going to bring them on screen, Fung and Alex Ihama. They are both members of the Canadian Congress on Inclusive Diversity and Workplace Equity. They're going to be holding an event tomorrow about this event, unfortunately, happened last year. They're having the George Floyd Memorial Lecture, A Path to Justice, Reconciliation, Equity, and it's being held tomorrow. I will show details on how you can register for this incredible event as we go along in the conversation. Moy and Alex, how are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing very well. How are you, Alex?
I'm doing fantastic. Always glad to be here. Dr. Vibe, thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Before we get into the real deep dive of the conversation, Alex, can you tell us a little bit about the organization, Canadian Congress on Inclusive Diversity and Workplace Equity? Many of us have not heard about it before, so we need to get some background on it.
Okay, thanks for that question. Actually, it's a new organization that we created out of an existing organization. So it's not quite new with regards to experience and programs and content and strategy, but certainly the name is new. Since 1999, I have been in the space for diversity. I've helped organizations like Bank of Montreal, CIBC, Monetary Solution, City of Brampton, City of Toronto, Region Peel, like literally the whole 9 yards. Since then, over 20 years, been helping to develop not just diversity work, but leadership and strategy. But May 25th, as you mentioned, literally changed the landscape of the world. It started what I call the new social and work evolution. And people started to come to us and say, hey, come train us again. I said, hold on a second. We trained you in 99, 2004, 2009. Like, what needs to change? So what we did was, because I'm a strategist by profession, involved in over $1 billion worth of strategy so far, we applied strategy to diversity. Basically, if you wanted to start a new business, a business plan, you do data analysis, you have policies. And so this was just more than training. So we said, what are the components of a successful strategy? Let's apply it to building a diversity strategy, what we call a corporate transformation strategy for diversity. And a massive scale program, as you can tell. Because of that program we did, so we now created the Canadian Congress on Inclusive Diversity and Workplace Equity, with a focus, my friends, to offer what I call an end-to-end strategic solution to the end of systemic racism in your organization. We've been fortunate to have used this program already since May last year. We're just running up with Canada basketball. 9 months, we went in there, spoke to ex-player, current player, coaches, referees, literally the whole 9 yards. 420 people were surveyed. We gathered data, built 3-year, 5-year strategy for them and set up affinity groups and diversity council. I mean, you want to do this at all, you do it right. And to do so, come to Canadian Congress on Inclusive Diversity and Workplace Equity.
Thank you for the background. Moy, a little bit about your background and how did you get involved in the organization and this project or this event?
A little bit about my background. Okay, so I've been, let's say, in the field of entrepreneurship for over 16 years. I've been creating brands really built on love, ultimately. Everything that I do, it's based on the core value of love, of just loving my neighbor as I love myself. Alex and I connected very not too long ago, and he brought me on board with the Canadian Congress. So here I am bringing, Alex is the strategy guy. As you know, he's been doing this for many years, occupying this space of inclusive diversity, really. And I believe what I bring to the table is the emotional aspect of this. Really, bringing the big heart that God has given me and the gifts that He's given me to be emotionally aware, and really teaching people how to be emotionally aware. A lot of the issues that we're faced with today is really because of that. Whether it has to do with racism or whatever the case is, we need to be able to truly know what it's like to be in someone else's shoes, and to be concerned about them, and not just live our lives in a very individual way. And I really try my best to do that, to teach people, to train people how to act with empathy, how to be concerned for their neighbor, and how really it's beneficial for them, when we live in that way. One of the reasons why I believe that I am able to live a very effective life is because I always like to put myself in that other person's shoes, really just, asking the question, what would I do if that was me? Or what if, that was my children or something like that, right? And that helps me to live life in a way that allows me to be concerned for others and concerned for social justice. So here we are. And we're so excited for tomorrow. It's a big day. Unfortunately, as you had mentioned earlier in the show, that, we're remembering George Floyd. We're not celebrating his death, of course, but we're using it and leveraging it in a way to educate people on racism, where that's all stemming from, educating them on social justice and what that all means. And that ultimately, when they leave this event, that they should feel a sense of empowerment, inspiration, and to be driven to take action.
Excellent. Thank you. Alex, what was the spark for you to do this? This is a massive event. What has been the planning? Like, when did you come up with this idea, and how is the work that we're not seeing? Because many of us will just see the end product tomorrow. What sort of work? You have a large amount of really good speakers. That's a lot of work, man.
Tell me about it. Trying to even fit into the agenda of these speakers is almost impossible. But you see, Muhammad Ali once said, impossible is the big word thrown around by little people who want to do nothing. Right. So I'm intrigued by tasks that others may call impossible. Now, to the first part of your question, when this came at the Congress, something that we have committed to is free education in terms of social justice, free education for diversity. You do not need to pay to learn what you must know to make humanity advance. Now, I do understand that educational institutions like the universities and colleges need to make some money to keep going, but we've created a Congress for that. So based on that, we go from one event to the other that will give us the opportunity to advance the cause for social justice. What's going to come out tomorrow, the goal, the objective, which we are literally at the brink right now, is the 1,000 people that are going to be there tomorrow will literally have gone through an intensive masterclass on social justice. And in so doing, we are going to actually offer them certificate. You are now a certified social justice advocate, because the people you see, these are not just speakers we pulled together. Each one of them were carefully selected because of an expertise or an experience that they have. And that expertise and experience literally created a diversity of programs that will enable you to truly understand a couple of things. Number one, what social justice stands for. A lot of people don't know what it means. They just think it's about racism. Racism is only a piece of it. Social justice is not just racism. Number two, people think you have to be in a position of authority or you have to be passionate about something to be a social justice advocate. My challenge to everybody listening to this, and certainly to the people that will be there tomorrow, is you were created for a purpose. And I guarantee you, your purpose is tied to a social justice activity. You just don't know about it. What about the youth? What about the women? What about the indigenous people? What about those with mental health? What about those? What about those? What about those? What about those with disability? Like, what about those who are unemployed? What about new immigrants, right? So you see that there is a cause in everybody's heart. There's a purpose, and I'm kicking it off tomorrow. The title of my message tomorrow is Igniting the Social Justice in You. Igniting the social justice in you. Every speaker is going to speak for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, which is actually the time it took to take the life of Mr. George Floyd. Now, we do have some high-level selected speakers who will be giving what I call a full lecture, which is twice the amount of the 9 minutes and 29 seconds. And one of them is Nikema Armstrong. You know, who you know, I'm just releasing that name for the first time on the media. Like, people have been asking me, who is this surprise guest you're having? This is the woman Oprah Winfrey said, like, she turned the death of George Floyd into a global conversation. You should go online and look at what this woman is doing in Minnesota. So she's one of our special guests. We have other special guests, frankly, that we couldn't put on the flyer, but even the ones we have on the flyer, as Dr. Vibe said, these are big hitters. These are people spending even a minute or two with them could change your life.
Great. Great. Fantastic. Thank you for that background. Moy, let me ask you, 1,000 people, you're hosting this, Moy.
Mm-hmm. I am.
How when Alex asked you to host this event, what was your first thoughts?
Well, I mean, I don't think I was ever asked. I think it was just expected.
Okay.
I think it was just expected of me, you know. So I mean, you know, it is what it is. Alex and I have partnered, and we're just ready to do the work. It doesn't matter what it takes. If it means, you know, sitting or standing or speaking in front of 1,000 people, then that's what we'll do. We're ready to get our hands dirty when the time comes, and we have been working with organization, but we're hoping that even, you know, after this, that many people will understand and know what we're about, and want to bring us in to do their audits, you know, and to do their training. And so we can teach them some things about what it means to act with empathy, what it means to love their neighbor as they love themselves. And of course, we know, you know, that's a very important element of what I do, because policies and procedures and all these things, laws, those things are not enough to change the heart of man. You know, so I'm hoping that I can use my gifts and skills and really go in there and help to transform the hearts of people. But as it pertains to the event, I'm very excited. As you know, Dr. Vibe, I'm always up for the challenge. This is a time where it's not time to joke. You know that I'm Jamaican. There's this mantra that I go by. And this year, like I'm like, listen, you know, like there's no more talking, right? It's like, you know, no more lip service. We just got to take action. There's a song, action, not a bag of mouth. So we're just going to act on what it is that we believe in. We're going to live for a cause and not just because, right? And the time is now, you know, so I'm ready. I'm ready. Absolutely.
Love it. Moy dropping knowledge bombs and dropping patois. I love it in the same thing. So this is good. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick little break. And when we come back, I'm going to ask both Alex and Moy a two-part question. What does social justice mean to them?
Mm-hmm.
And then also, what do they feel the state of social justice is at this time in our history? So we will be back after the commercial. Stay tight. You're watching The Morning Vibe with Dr. Vibe and Ryan Oneil Knight. Ryan's not with us today, but he is part of this presentation. Take care, folks. We're back in just a minute. Keep it locked. What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show. What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here. What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here. What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here. What is up, everybody? It is Dr. Vibe here.
Just had an awesome experience. He is a really good interviewer.
The conversations that we have and the passion that he has for people and helping people.
So smoothly that you would have thought that we had known each other for years.
Big shout out to Dr. Vibes. I had the opportunity, the pleasure, and the privilege to join him last evening.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And you can check out more great content like this on my website. Also, follow me on social media. Remember, it's Dr. Vibe, the home of epic conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations. And remember, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And remember to give yourself grace. We are back with Ihama and Fung, and we're talking about social justice. We're talking about the big event they're having tomorrow. I'll put it back up on the screen. We're going to be talking about their George Floyd Memorial Lecture, a path to social justice, reconciliation, and equity that's being held tomorrow. And I'll be just right now putting up the link where you can register for the conference. Over 1,000 people have already registered, folks. That is serious. So before we went to break, I asked a question to both of Alex and Moy, what they feel the state of social justice is now. So first question, we'll go to Moy. What do they feel, what your definition of social justice, and what is the state of social justice as we stand right now on May 24th, 2021?
As I had mentioned earlier, is really just living for a cause and not just because. Understanding that our existence here on earth, Alex spoke about purpose earlier. Understanding that our existence here on earth, it is not by chance. Understanding that the experiences that we face, again, Alex spoke about this earlier. He talked about everybody having that social, justice cause within them. And that's really identified through our experiences, so that whatever it is that has caused you pain in your life, whatever hurt that you have felt and experienced, whatever rejection that you had gone through, that those are areas that you can actually live for a cause. Those are areas in which you can stand up for social justice for groups of people who are experiencing the same thing, or for individuals who are experiencing the same thing. So it's really living for a cause and not just because. That's my definition. What the state is, just using myself as an example, Dr. Vibe, I lived my life in a way, even before the George Floyd event, really having this big heart for people, really, caring about their well-being. And I always say that it far exceeds just ensuring that they have their basic necessities. So just roof and, shelter and clothing and food and all of that stuff. But really wanting people to live a quality of life. And that's what I'm about. That's how those are, I guess you would call core values that I live by. Now, in terms of social justice on a whole, on a macro level, I found that I wasn't really doing a whole lot. I wasn't doing a whole lot out, in a very, I guess you would say, overt way, right, publicly. But after George Floyd died, our dear brother, it really moved me. It really moved me to do something. It really moved me to begin speaking about these issues. I have 3 sons, Dr. Vibe.
I know. 3
Black sons who I love dearly. And I reflect on not just the death of George Floyd, but the many deaths that came before that. There was Emmett Till that happened over 50 years ago, 60 years ago. The young man who went to visit some relatives out somewhere in the South in the US. And he went into a store to buy candy. And apparently news got back, so the storekeeper, the store owner, his wife was there, he wasn't there, and news got back to the store owner that this little 14-year-old boy had said something to her that offended her. You know what they did that same night? They went, searched him out, went into the home. I guess it might have been his relative's home, dragged him out of bed, beat him to the state of he couldn't be recognized by his parents. And then they threw his body over into the ocean to a 14-year-old boy. Now, I'm a mother, 3 sons. I asked myself, what if that was my son? So again, we don't have to wait for something to happen to us for us to start to speak or to act or to do something. And I think, you know, not just for me, I think for many people, because we were able to witness the death of George Floyd, that many people are now speaking up. You know, many folks are willing to just speak up, to stand up for justice. And I think we're definitely we're in a good place. You know, we're in a good place, but there's so much more work to be done. You know, that's all I have to say for now.
I think that was more than enough. That's beautiful. Alex, want to get your thoughts on what's your definition of social justice and what do you feel the state of social justice is right now?
Social justice, my definition of social justice is literally when you've decided, number one, you've discovered your purpose, and number two, you've discovered how to make a difference through your purpose, basically something bigger than you. Of what essence is life? Someone once said, if it's to live for ourselves. Social justice is when you decide, no matter your situation, you don't have to be perfect, you don't have to have all the money, you don't have to have all the education, but you have found a cause that is bigger than you. That's what it means. You can read all the dictionary and they give you all the fancy word. The question is, you know a cause that is bigger than you right now. You listening to me, you know. The question is, what are you doing about it? The moment you decide to do something about it, then this spirit of social justice is ignited. In fact, in one of my books, The Mystique of Leadership, I define leadership as a spirit that can only be ignited by purpose, sustained by passion, and guided by principles. In that regard, that is social justice. Go back to Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks never went to school. At least at that time, she was meant to sit at the back of the bus. She was only 16, and she was taking care of the mother and the grandmother who was very sick. Rosa Parks literally was a nobody. But that day on the bus, which wasn't her first day on the bus, by the way. She's been on the bus for far too long, and she's gone to the back. But who knows what was going through her mind that day? She's like, forget it. I'm not going to the back of the bus. My grandma went to the back of the bus. My mother went to the back of the bus. I often go to the back of the bus, but today I am not going to the back of the bus. What is your today? That is the birth of social justice. And today, Rosa Parks is the only woman, certainly the only Black woman, that has been laid in the rotunda. The rotunda is where you lay dead presidents of the U.S. In fact, there are only 3 non-U.S. presidents who's been laid there: Billy Graham, Martin Luther King, and Rosa Parks. So social justice, you know, it sounds big, justice, social justice. No. There are kids who are doing it, 14, 15-year-old. They are active. My question to you is, have you activated, have you ignited the spirit of social justice in you? That's why we are having this convention tomorrow. Now, to the second part of the question that Dr. Vibe asked, what is the state of social justice in the world today? Do I need to answer that? Put on your cable post right now. Put on your CTV. Put on your CNN. Put on your BBC. See what's happening even in the Middle East. The issue is everywhere. I was explaining to somebody on LinkedIn, and I said, even in Africa, where we are mostly all Black, even let's just focus on the Black Africa. There are parts of Africa you have other, but look at Nigeria for an example. Look at Ghana for an example. Look at all these places. Everybody is Black. Basically, the police are Black, yet we are more scared of the police and of the gangs. Right? We are more scared. Why? Because, you know, the British and the French created this force, which, you know, in case for some people who don't know, the police force, certainly the ones in the southern aspect of the US, the police was formed to catch runaway slaves way back, right? Other countries may have started it for different reasons, but that's why it was started, which means if you can't catch them, you shoot them in the back. That's what we're seeing today. The colonial masters, as they call themselves, they brought that same mentality and they created those forces and say, subdue your own people. Now they have left. They gave us independence in 1960. The police are still subduing the people today. So what is the state of social justice in the world today? Deplorable, despicable, depressing. That's what it is. And that's why we're calling people to stand up and be part of the solution. Let me leave you with a quotation by Martin Luther King. He said, until a man can rise above, or a woman, until a person can rise above his or her individualistic concern to a broader concern of humanity, he's not fit to live. Are you living? The question is not whether you are alive. It's not my question. Are you living? Are you part of the solution? Because if you are not part of the solution, sorry to be the one to break the news to you, then you're part of the problem. There's no middle ground in social justice. Again, we are calling up on everybody to step up and rise up and make May 25th in every nation the National Social Justice Action Day. We've already put it out in the media. The Prime Minister of Canada is aware of this. The opposition leader, they are aware of this. The cabinet ministers, they are aware of this. The mayors, the chief of police, they are aware of this. The professors, they are aware of this. May 25th, National Social Justice Action Day in the nations across. And by the way, we're going to be having a guest speaker from the Martin Luther King Center for Nonviolent Social Justice in Atlanta. We reached out to Martin Luther King family. We invited members of the family to join us, but they're unable to join, sends their greetings, and they are sending a special delegate to speak to us on the non-violent philosophies of social justice. You don't want to miss this.
I hear you. I hear you. Before we close out, just want to ask one or two last conversation pieces. What are you excited about in regards to tomorrow's event? What are you excited about?
What I'm most excited about is what will come after. Is like we've done a hard work. Alex, has really done an amazing job at gathering just this all-star lineup of people, and it's not just because of just their names. Really, it's because of all of what they stand for. And like Alex says, they come with experiences, they come with education, they come with knowledge. And we're really hoping and believing and trusting God that every single person that comes to that event tomorrow will be moved to take action, will be moved to live a life of purpose, a life that is for a cause. And as I mentioned, not just because. That is what I'm most excited about.
Excellent. Alex, what are you excited about? You've already mentioned a few things. I know you could add more. What else would you like to share about your excitement about tomorrow's event? And what would you like to see post-event?
Yes. And I want to first thank certainly Dr. Vibe for having us. Thank you for you are a social justice advocate. Your program itself is addressing social justice issues. Right. My dad always wanted me to be a lawyer. And I think I can call him now and say, Daddy, I finally made it to be a justice. That's what I am now. Right. So I skipped the lawyer part and I became a justice. Right. I also, of course, want to thank Moy. I was being very active. And every other body, we have what we call the diversity ambassadors. There are many people behind. So this is not just about me, certainly not about Moy, but it's an organization, the Canadian Congress on Inclusive Diversity and Workplace Equity. There's so many things we're excited about this, but one predominantly, the topmost for me, is literally we're about to unleash into the world 1,000 people with a new mind, 1,000 people with a stronger resolve, 1,000 people with a commitment that will shatter barriers, 1,000 people whose confidence would be literally would have escalated, 1,000 people who would choose to no longer be silent about the things that matter, 1,000 people who will represent justice, equity, righteousness, 1,000 people who will eventually go back into their homes, into their communities, into their colleges and their places of work, places of worship, and even places of play, like the basketball court. And they will be there representing social justice. The goal, listen, I'll tell you this. If people who were watching George Floyd decided to gather up against the police may have succeeded in shooting one or two, but not 100 people. But people were watching that and did nothing about it. In the same way, there are people right now in your workplace watching inequities and racism and doing nothing about it. We should, listen, I say this all the time. His death is an indictment on humanity. The fact that we can be recording somebody being killed and say, stop it, stop it. Are you kidding me? You need to rise up and go there and grab that person and try to save. If that was your son under that officer, would you be recording it and do nothing about it? That is what I'm talking about.
Son or daughter, son or daughter.
Yes, or son or daughter, right? So that's what I'm talking about. So it's the aftermath. The goal is we can no longer be silent about the things that matter. And I'm excited. I know that come tomorrow, the people that will live there will begin to examine their heart, their minds, their consciences. And by the end of the day, they would have been ready, literally. And when they see social injustice anywhere, they will speak up. That's what I'm excited about.
Just one last thing. Is there anything in place post-conference to keep engaged with the participants as of yet?
Absolutely. We are very, like I said, I come with a strategy background. Data in what I do is critical. Even the registration process. Nobody's attended our event that has not heard from us every 2 weeks. But even this one, we are taking it to the next level. So this is not about you just hearing from us, getting a newsletter or getting a post on social media. No, no, no. This 1,000 people are special to us. We are going to give them access to more content behind the firewall, literally thousands of, these are programs we sell to organizations, but we're going to give them access to learn more and even participate in quizzes. And we are setting up even focus group from this group, focus on education. Education is great, as Nelson Mandela said, is a tool for civilization and success, but education also helped to foster racism. There were books that were used in school 200 years ago that said blacks were not human. In fact, we were subhuman. There were books. So again, the focus group on education, what needs to change? Focus group on law enforcement, what needs to change? So don't just plan to come and get a nice time, you will. Don't just plan to come and be empowered, you will. But if you are willing to do the work, we have things in place to get you involved, give you the necessary training, education, encouragement, and even put you in a focus group of like-minded people who are dealing with the same area of social justice to support your continuous development and continuous impact. This is a movement. It's not an event.
All right.
Absolutely.
On that note, Moy and Alex, thank you so much for taking time out of your positive, productive schedules and looking forward to the event. I would say if you can get some rest today, because I've done whole day events like this. So, but again, You're not going to be doing all this weekend. I'm specifically wanting you two to get some rest today, especially Moy, who's going to be hosting this event. She's got a long day tomorrow.
Yes, I do. Thank you so much for having us, Dr. Vibe. Remember, action, not a bag of mouth. Okay, it's time to act. Tomorrow, National Social Justice Action Day. Join us.
All right. And if you want any more information on the event, if you're watching this live on the replay, the link is on the screen. Sign up, get ready for an incredible event. Both of you, thank you so much. Have an outstanding day.
Bless you, sir.
Thanks for having us. God bless you.
Take care. Our pleasure. So, folks, big event coming up tomorrow. Do not miss it. Social justice. That is something that should be important to all of us. And again, the link is on the screen there. And looking forward to that event tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to jump in for a bit of it. And they have a wide array of speakers. Again, check out the website and you will see some good stuff. Dr. Vibe here, co-host of this thing they call the Morning Vibe. We are on Monday and Friday mornings in around 9 a.m. Eastern time, where we just sit back and discuss things, or also have people that are doing great things that you need to know about. So we'll be back coming up this Friday. Hopefully you will have a great week and looking forward to it. Social justice, really important. And my question for everyone who's watching this live on the replay, what are you going to do to give tribute to George Floyd tomorrow? All right. Looking forward to it. Thanks for everyone who watched today live on the replay. It's appreciated and not taken for granted. God bless. Peace well. Keep the faith. As always, we like to say, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace, and we'll see you on Friday. Have a blessed week. Keep the faith.